What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to Mincio MMA, your home for the latest MMA news, fighter reactions, and everything happening around the UFC. Today we're discussing a side of Conor McGregor that MMA fans rarely get to see. For most of his career, Conor built his reputation on confidence. He predicted victories. He dominated press conferences. And he carried himself like a man who could never be broken. But during a recent interview ahead of his UFC return, Conor revealed something very different. He spoke about rock bottom. He spoke about darkness. He spoke about faith. And perhaps most surprisingly, he spoke about becoming a father and how it completely changed the way he sees himself. For years, fans have debated whether the old Conor McGregor would ever return. But after hearing this interview, a better question might be whether the old Conor McGregor even exists anymore. Let's break it all down. The injury was worse than most fans realized. When people talk about Conor McGregor's absence from the UFC, they usually focus on the timeline. 5 years without a fight. Years of delays. Years of speculation. But according to Conor, most fans never truly understood how difficult the recovery process was. He described the injury as one of the darkest periods of his life. And not because he couldn't fight. Because he wasn't sure what life would look like afterward. He explained that after suffering the devastating leg break, his focus wasn't on championships. It wasn't on title fights. And it wasn't on money. It was much simpler than that. He wanted to know whether he would ever be able to walk normally again. Whether he could run. Whether he could play with his children. Whether he could live a normal life. For a fighter whose entire identity had been built around physical excellence, that uncertainty was incredibly difficult. And according to Conor, that's something many people never fully appreciated. The rock bottom moment. One of the most powerful moments of the interview came when the conversation shifted toward faith. The interviewer pointed out that throughout most of Conor's career, discussions about religion had been relatively rare. This time felt different. Conor openly acknowledged that. He explained that although he was raised Catholic and grew up in a religious household, his relationship with faith changed dramatically after experiencing some of the lowest moments of his life. He repeatedly referenced what he called rock bottom. Interestingly, he never provided a specific date or moment. Instead, he described it as a series of dark periods. Moments where life became difficult. Moments where he was forced to confront himself. Moments where the confidence and success that people saw publicly weren't enough to solve what was happening internally. According to Conor, it was during those moments that faith took on a completely different meaning. Not as a tradition. Not as something inherited from family. But as something personal. Something that helped him navigate those difficult periods. A different battle than fighting. One of the most interesting themes throughout the interview was Conor's description of his daily struggles. Not physical struggles. Not opponents. Not title fights. Internal struggles. He described life as an ongoing battle between old habits and the person he wants to become. A constant competition between previous versions of himself and the version he's trying to build today. At one point, he compared it to walking across a tightrope. A tightrope where the consequences of falling are significant. What makes that analogy particularly interesting is that Conor wasn't talking about fighting. He was talking about life. Maintaining discipline. Maintaining balance. Maintaining perspective. According to him, success doesn't eliminate those challenges. In some ways, it can make them more difficult. Because once you've achieved everything, the distractions become even greater. The temptations become larger. And the consequences become more significant. Why money no longer motivates him. For years, Conor McGregor was known for discussing wealth. Luxury cars. Expensive watches. Business success. Forbes lists. Financial achievements. But during this interview, he sounded very different. When the conversation turned toward money, Conor repeatedly downplayed its importance. He acknowledged that financial success had brought opportunities. But he also suggested it brought challenges. At one point, he even stated that he no longer wants to participate in the Forbes rankings that once became a major talking point around his career. Instead, he described himself as trying to live more modestly. Trying to focus on things that actually matter. Trying to avoid becoming consumed by material success. Whether fans agree with that assessment or not, it represents a noticeable shift from the public image that dominated much of his career. Fatherhood changed everything. Perhaps the biggest revelation from the interview involved his family. For years, fans remembered a younger Conor McGregor making comments suggesting that having children could potentially soften a fighter's edge. Now, as the father of 4 children, his perspective couldn't be more different. Conor admitted that fatherhood changed him completely. In fact, he made one of the most striking statements of the entire interview. He said that before becoming a father, he felt like a boy. Now, he feels like a man. It's a simple statement, but it reveals a lot about how he views his own evolution. According to Conor, his family doesn't distract him from fighting. They actually help him stay focused. Instead of drifting away from the athlete lifestyle, fatherhood gives him structure. It keeps him accountable. It keeps him connected to a purpose beyond competition. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds him why he's working so hard in the first place. Why this comeback feels different. As the interview continued, it became increasingly clear that this comeback isn't being driven by the same motivations that fueled previous chapters of Conor's career. This isn't about proving he can become rich. He's already done that. This isn't about proving he can become famous. He's already done that too. Instead, Conor repeatedly returned to one idea: the love of competition, the enjoyment of fighting, the challenge of testing himself, the excitement of performing again. According to him, he simply missed the experience. The walk to the cage, the atmosphere, the crowd, the pressure, the competition. For someone who spent years away from the sport, that desire appears stronger than ever. And whether fans believe him or not, he genuinely sounded like someone who had rediscovered his appreciation for the game itself. The biggest test is still ahead. Of course, interviews are one thing. Fighting is another. It's easy to talk about growth. It's easy to talk about lessons learned. It's easy to talk about becoming a better person. The real test begins when the cage door closes. Because ultimately, the questions surrounding Conor McGregor haven't disappeared. Can he still compete with elite fighters? Can his body hold up? Can he perform under the pressure of a massive comeback? And can this new version of Conor succeed where the previous version struggled? Those questions remain unanswered. But for the first time in a long time, Conor appears genuinely at peace with where he is in life. For years, fans have focused on Conor McGregor, the superstar, the champion, the businessman, the promoter, the headline maker. But this interview revealed something different. A man reflecting on mistakes. A man talking openly about dark moments. A man who found strength through faith. And a father who believes his family helped transform him into a better version of himself. Whether that transformation translates into success inside the octagon remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The Conor McGregor preparing for this comeback doesn't sound like the same Conor McGregor who left the sport years ago. Do you think Conor has truly changed? Can faith and family help extend a fighter's career? And do you believe this version of Conor McGregor can still become a UFC champion again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Mincio MMA, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest MMA news and fight coverage. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.